All right, social studies. Open your manual to page 55. And coinciding with the manual, you are going to use the whole chapter, which is where do we start? All the way to 77. So what is a good way to study for an exam? If you have a textbook, what is the first thing you should focus on when you are going through a whole chapter such as this? Should you read every single word, or should you look for something in particular? Tessa? Yes. Now, I'm not saying that you only look at the bold words, but that is a really good place to start, is going through, looking at the bold words and knowing what the bold words are. So, with that said, on 55 of your manual, what is a natural resource? Natural resource. Now, another thing to do, like in this situation, is go to the beginning of the chapter and scan through. And, oh, look, page 81, in huge letters, natural resources. What is, and oh, wow, look at that. Under there is in bold, natural resources. What is a natural resource on page 81? Gabe. Anything from nature that God created people to use. That's right. Natural resource. What is a renewable resource? If you turn the page, now you start scanning pages. Renewable resource. Where's your books? McKenna.
Can be made again naturally?
Yes, can be made again naturally. So what is an example of that? A renewable resource. Tyson.
Carrots and animals, like every year they make the one that they, the baby that was maybe last year.
That's right.
Had a baby this year.
That's right. So crops, gardens, animals, renewable, good job, Payson, they keep coming back and back. They are from nature, but they can come back, whereas a non-renewable resource, what is that? Christian.
It's a natural resource that no longer belongs to them.
Right. So unlike a renewable, a non-renewable cannot recreate itself, or it cannot come back. What is an example of that? You think of digging in the earth and mining something. What is something that is mined that you cannot grow back again? Grayson. Diamonds. Cole. Amber. Christian.
Gold.
Coal. Tyson.
Silver and gold.
Silver and gold. Yes. Very good. God created these, but he did not create them to renew themselves. So if we dig up all the coal or the diamonds or the gold or the silver, then they are gone forever. Any questions? I'll give you some time to write. Yes, Sam. Yeah. Are we ready to move on?
No.
All right. Ready? Expedition. Who would so the thing about this word, if you're going to find it in your book, what is an expedition? But if you want to find it in the book, what would be a good, some words that would help you find it in the book quickly? Grayson.
I forgot.
Helen.
Go to page 96 and to find the.
Not 96. Expedition. It's good to know who went on the expedition we're talking about. Does anybody remember the people's names? Wensheen. Yes. Oh, look at that. On page 88, on the top of the page, it says Lewis and Clark. Wow. So it's important to think of key words that are going to help you find things in your textbook. So, what is an expedition? Tessa.
It's a long trip to explore new.
Yes, remember the long trip. It took a long time for them to go on this trip. Yes. So a long trip to explore an unknown area. Very good. All right. All right, in the middle of 55, there is a little box that you're supposed to match the definitions with, or the definition to the title or the person or the thing. Number 5, what is a Chief Justice? Scan or look at the A, B, C, D, E and see if you can find the definition that matches Chief Justice. Cole.
The top judge in the Supreme Court.
Very good. The top judge in the Supreme Court. Is the Supreme Court an important court?
Yes.
Is it at the highest level of justice that there is in the United States of America?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, what is democracy? Who remembers what democracy is? Boy.
Ruled by the people.
Yes, very good. It is a form of government that is ruled by the people, we the people. Is the United States a democracy?
Yeah.
It is. Because we vote for our president, our vice president, our congressmen, and our senators. In local and state government as well. So, yes, we are most definitely a democracy. This I don't know if you're going to know. So, let us, well, first of all, let's see. What is judicial review? Judicial review. So, we do know this is about Supreme Court, do we not? So, a place to look, if you're not sure, is find some pages that have to do with the Supreme Court. There's one particular person that we have spoken about. What is judicial review? Toby. I'm sorry, what did you say? No, not a top judge. A judicial review. If you look on page 94, you will find it. We'll give people a chance. Toby, can you find it on page 94? Judicial review. Go ahead, Toby. Yes. Judicial review is the Supreme Court oversees all laws. Justice. What is a justice? Is it a person? What is it? James. Yes. So remember that. The Supreme Court judges are called justices. The Chief Justice is the head of the Supreme Court. What is a voluntary society? Process of elimination. Gabe.
Is a group of people who try to solve problems.
Very good.
That was so hard.
Good job, friends. All right, we have more. We have another little box. Now this box, if you scan the definitions, what would you say this section is going to be about? Christian.
It's going to be about all the people who helped America.
They did help America, but I am looking for one specific thing that's this little box. If you read William Clark, Meriwether Lewis, John Marshall, well, John Marshall's not, Sacagawea, and York, pretty much all of those are about what? Cole. Yes, so where would you go? Where do you think you should go in your textbook if you wanted to find the information about Lewis and Clark? Jonathan. 88, 89, entitled Lewis and Clark. Very good. So see how this can help, how this type of process can help you study. So, the first one is not about Lewis and Clark, so let's get it out of the way. Who is the Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court? This would be on page 92. Emmy. John Marshall. All right, now let's flip back to 88, 89, and 90, and 91 actually. All of that pertains to the expedition. Who helped the expedition group talk to other Indians? Who helped the expedition group talk to other Indians? Ella. Sacagawea. Very good. Yes. Remember, her and her husband, well, her child, came on the expedition. She could speak the Indian language. Her husband could translate. So it was a really good team. All right. So I is the correct answer. Knew how to make maps and measure the land. So this is you're going to have to know the individuals and what they did for the expedition. So who was the person who knew how to make maps and measure the land? Olivia.
William Clark.
Yes. Remember, he was in the military. So he was a good leader, but he also knew a lot about the woods, the animals, the plants, and how to lead, and how to measure the land, which is helpful when you are in areas you don't have any idea where you're at. So a good, valuable skill. Skilled hunter and scout who went on the expedition. Now be careful with this one. Wenchine.
York.
Yes. Who was York? Who was York? Helen.
Wasn't he a slave?
Yes. Whose slave? Jonathan.
Clark.
Yes, he was Clark's personal slave. If you look on 89, Clark's personal slave York went with them. York was the first black person that the Indians met. He was skilled in hunting and scouting. Well, there you go. That's a very interesting fact. All right, number 14, knew about Indian ways and how to live in the woods. Process of elimination,
So hard.
but important to know nonetheless. Emma. G, Meriwether Lewis. Lewis and Clark. I like how each individual had an important role. Now, that's the way God's gifts are. We all have important gifts that help a larger portion of society. If we all had the same gifts, we wouldn't get anything done. So God gave Clark and Lewis and Sacagawea and York all specific skills to help them get through this expedition. Because I don't think the expedition was very easy.
Especially if it took 4 years or
Yeah.
2 years. 4 years.
2 years and 4 months. All right, let's turn the page to 56.
The Star Spangled Banner.
No. 56 in your manual, not your textbook. Chapter review. It's a continuation of the chapter review. So, what again is a precedent? Not a president of the United States, a precedent. It's a word that keeps coming up chapter after chapter. So I think it's important. Boy. Yes, it's an example. Very good. So when someone sets a precedent, they are setting an example. So, what was the important precedent set with the election of 1800? You're going to have to go back to the beginning of our chapter to find out. On page 80. Look on page 80. Now it's not necessarily bold, but it's something that pertains to Thomas Jefferson taking over the presidency after John Adams. Something unique occurred that set a precedent. I'm going to give people a little time. I would look at the very bottom of page 80, hint, hint. Very bottom of page 80. Helen. Right, so on 15, number 15, what is the correct answer? What was the important precedent set with the election of 1800? Or 50, Helen, what is the correct answer?
The change in
Political?
parties was peaceful.
Yes. Who did the United States buy the Louisiana Territory from? France or the pirates? Arr!
Definitely not.
James.
France.
Yes.
Or maybe.
What were the benefits of buying New Orleans and the Louisiana Territory? So if you remember correctly, Jefferson sent a group of people over to France to buy what? They had no intention of buying the whole Louisiana Territory. What did they want to buy initially? Luke. Grant. Yes. Why was New Orleans such an important part, or a strategically very smart area to own, Jonathan? Yes. If you look on your map on page 56 in your manual, number 20, you see that there, the tip, that's New Orleans. And if you see number 22, that's Mississippi River. And then you also have an ocean. So that is a crucial trading port. So Jefferson sent a group of people over to just buy New Orleans from France. And then New Orleans said, well, why didn't you buy all of this? What was that purchase? That doubled the United States in size. What was that purchase? It was a bit significant. Yes, Tyson.
The Louisiana Purchase.
The Louisiana Territory, yes, or known as the Louisiana Purchase. The Louisiana Territory is, if you look on the map, is 21. So they came home with that from that trip with a lot more than New Orleans. Just a bit. All right, so what were the benefits of buying New Orleans and the Louisiana Territory? Now you look at all that land. Could there be more than one answer? Christian. We're on page on 17. What were the benefits of buying New Orleans and the Louisiana Territory? 17 on page 56.
Trade from the Mississippi River would not be cut off.
Correct.
And the extra land gave room for farming.
Correct. Very good. Both of them. That's a lot of land for the farmers. And they also have the Mississippi River. It's not cut off. So they not only do they have all the new land, they have the trade route with New Orleans and the Mississippi River. I'd say that was a very wise purchase.
Thanks, Fran. Yeah, thanks, Fran.
18. What were the purposes of the Lewis and Clark expedition? What were the purposes of it? Why did President Thomas Jefferson want this to occur? M. 18.
To explore what was past the Louisiana Territory.
Yes. And?
To find out more about
Very good. So both. So remember, Jefferson was very curious about all this land, obviously, because they now own it. But if you remember, if you look on, trying to remember the page where they showed the route, he also was curious about what was beyond the territory, which was what. Okay, so on page 91, friends, look on that. You can see the route. They started where? Where did they start their journey? If you look at the red route, that is the route they took. Where was the beginning? Grant. St. Louis. And so they traveled. They traveled a bit northwest, and then they went north all the way up to north, and then they traveled west to where? Where was the final point of their journey? Cole. Yes, which was, then what? Can they go any further?
No.
No, because they reached the what? Yeah, they would need a boat, a large boat.
Okay.
So, Jefferson was not only interested in discovering what the Louisiana Territory was, but he was interested in what was beyond. Because why do you think he was interested in what was beyond the Louisiana Territory? So we owned the land from the border of the Louisiana Territory and then east. Why was he interested in what was west of the Louisiana Territory? Cole.
Because he wanted to know if it was good if he wanted to buy it.
Yes. He was thinking, is this viable land? Do I want to own this someday too for the United States? Did he, or did the United States eventually go west?
Yes.
Yes. all the way to the Pacific Ocean. So it was a very important expedition, was it not? Yes. So keep in mind, friends, study that map. Know that New Orleans is at the tip. The Mississippi River borders the east of the Louisiana Territory. What borders, if you remember, they're kind of large. What borders the western boundary of the Louisiana Territory that they had to go over? Olivia. Rocky Mountains.
No, thank you.
And then 21, of course, all of that in pink is what? What is that, Winsheen? The Louisiana Territory. So know that map. What was a result of democracy? Number 19. What was a result of democracy? So friends, on page 98 of your textbook, there is a graph that shows strengths and weaknesses of democracy, or effects of democracy. So by looking at the question and the answers, what do you think is the correct answer? Again, what is democracy? It's a government that is what? Gives power to whom? Tyson. Yes. So with that, knowing what democracy is, what would you think would be the answer to this question? Helen.
The man had a bigger part of the government.
Yes. Very good. Very good, friends. You did a great job. So, how are you feeling about all this?
Good.
So what I want you to do tonight is study. Go over this chapter review. Make sure you know. Go over the bold words in your textbook. Tomorrow we have our big review where I get to throw candy at you. So I need you to study tonight, okay? Did you all write in your planners? Multiplication facts for 15 and social studies. Why is everybody standing up? I didn't say anything about going. So gather all your things and put them in a pile.